We're buzzing. Is that you or me? Oh, we're live. Hello, everybody. How are you? Renata, take over while I
Oh,
fix this.
you just sound so delightful, don't you, Anne? You should have been here a few minutes ago, everyone. You would have seen a different side of Miss Anne.
Yes, you would have.
But welcome, everyone. Welcome to the ABC of Hauntings. And tonight we are attempting to talk about the letter B. And we thought it might be very interesting to have a special guest on tonight, and it is the beautiful Sarah, who has been working for quite some time out at Black Rock House. B for Black Rock House.
And can I just show you this? This is the magazine that Sarah is able to bring in for all us freaky
Super nerds.
people. Freaky people. And I was just flicking through it today, and
Guess what?
guess what? There she is. There's the gorgeous Sarah, just one of those things. Her article is in the magazine.
Very special.
I was meant to write for a magazine. I've got a half-written article. I'm just shocking at deadlines.
Haven't you done that yet?
No, you need to challenge me again. I work better under stress or pressure or something. Anyway, we have. I think that finally Sarah may have sent through the video that we needed. She's busily working in the background there. You give us a wave when you're ready, Sarah, and we'll be able to pop you in. Let's do a little bit of housework at the moment.
Yes, let's talk about all the things that we have happening at the moment. Even though we have nothing happening, we do have things happening.
So the first thing is that we have our mediumship for ghost hunters or for the average person starting tomorrow night. So it's a 90-minute session, and it is repeated for 4 Tuesdays. And that is $80 for the course, and you will have homework. If you miss out on a week, that's okay, because it's all pre-recorded, so you can watch at your own leisure.
Absolutely. Now, please remember, this is not to teach you how to be a super successful platform medium. This is about teaching you the basics.
Dear. Wow.
But teaching you the basics and being able to connect on a deeper level when it comes to wanting to speak to those in spirit that you might be wanting to from a private and personal perspective, or if you are a ghost hunter or a paranormal investigator and you want to do something a little bit different, just a little bit different, and feel and connect on a psychic level with the spirits or the ghosts that are associated with the buildings or sites that you are associated with or in. Look at these headphones. What's going on here?
Got a lopsided head.
Then that course or this course is for you. You will all learn something along the way. Absolutely. And you might teach us a thing or two as well.
Oh, Jenny's ordered the next haunted book, which is awesome.
So, yes, tomorrow. So we have still got plenty of room because it's all virtual.
It's online.
So we can have 1,000 people if we so wish.
Which would be really nice. That would be fantastic.
It would be.
If we had 1,000 people joined by tomorrow night, we would be making big donations to charities.
Absolutely.
And also, we've got a movie night coming up.
Yes, yes. If you are local to Newcastle and you would like to spend a few hours locked in a cinema with us weirdos, then let us know, because we have 10 spots left for the night of...
The 19th of August, Event Cinemas Glendale. It's from approximately 7 till 10 p.m. And it's $20, which is unlimited popcorn and sodas. And
Sodas.
it's the Ghostbusters movie, the original Ghostbusters movie. And we'll be heckling all the way through because we are the only people in the theatre. We're hiring out all for ourselves. So anyone in the Newcastle region that wants to come join us, you are welcome. And I think Miss Sarah might be ready. I'm just going to pop her in here. Everyone, say hello to Sarah. Are you ready, or have I got you unexpected?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready.
And I just noticed that a video or some sort of link did come through. No, it didn't. I got excited then. No.
Must be on the
Guys, we've
Fortnite
been-
the kids are playing.
Yeah, we've been having huge issues with the internet and
This
all
Gamma
of this
Girl
sort of
causes
stuff.
issues.
Oh, shush up.
No, we're doing some voiceover work today for one of the things we're involved in, and we were recording it with our beautiful blue Yeti microphone, and I've got my Zoom H4, and I'm recording it all into it. Yep, and then we couldn't get the files off the Zoom H4 onto the computer. And like our producer's going, but I need them. I'm doing them this afternoon. I'm going, can't get them. So it's been a stressful day.
It's always the way.
Yeah. So, Sarah, welcome.
Yes,
Slight
thank you.
craziness. Yeah, tell
Thank
us
you.
all about Black Rock House.
Yes, where is
Yes,
it?
so Black Rock House is in the suburb of Black Rock, which is a bayside suburb near sort of Brighton way. A lot of people may know of Brighton, around that way. So it's opposite the beach in Melbourne. And basically it was built in 1856 for Victoria's first Auditor General, Mr. Charles Hodson Ebden. And he used that as his seaside holiday residence for quite a few years. And then it kind of just became, I'll show you guys some photos and you'll see why it's so special. It kind of just became one of those places that no one really knew what it was. And one of the reasons for that was because of the amazing castle gates. So it's sort of like half castle, half house.
Yeah, I
And
did see a photo of that, of the castle, and I was actually slightly confused because I was trying to get a photo for the cover photo. And I'm looking at it going, hang on, I thought it was the house, but then there's this big castle wall looking thing here. So, because I've never been there, it's on our bucket list.
It's on
and
our bucket
If
list.
we're ever allowed to come
we're waiting.
south, ever allowed to come south, we'll come down. We were going to come
I
on a
can't
big
even
road
go
trip.
there right now.
No.
It's depressing.
So it's
I'm
half
being there
castle,
for
half
months.
house.
Half castle, half house. And it was modelled on Black Rock Castle in Ireland. And it was his bayside city, sort of bayside holiday house. And then it was also used by the governor to entertain Melbourne's elite. So it was a lot of politicians spent time there. They would do a lot of hunting there. There were a lot of hunting breakfasts and things like that. Then it kind of turned into a boarding house and then just became sort of this derelict sort of place. And again, a lot of people were confused because you've got this derelict house with a castle, and it remained like that for many, many years until in the 1970s, the Bayside City Council bought the house, and the Friends of Black Rock House Committee was established, and they basically restored the house from what was not even safe to kind of walk in, and they restored it to what they thought an 1850s homestead would look like, and that's where it is today. So it's a completely council run organisation, and you've got the beautiful Friends of Black Rock House there, and yeah, they basically just rely on the small amount of council grants that they get for people to come in and open days. So probably about we're in our 5th year, so we kind of just randomly came across the place and went to investigate it just for ourselves. And I was having a chat to Carolyn, who is the president of the Friends of Black Rock House, and she, I kind of said to her, hey, do you want to see if we can kind of do some events and bring you guys in some money? And we've been doing that for 5 years now, along with my brother. And we donate 100% of whatever we get to the Friends of Black Rock House. And the tours have become so popular, they pretty much sell out within a few hours. I think the fastest an event has sold out within about 2 minutes.
Wow.
But look, we do have small numbers because it is a small house, but the majority of the people, once they come once, there is just something about this house that they just keep coming back. And a lot of the people, at least half of the people that come, are regulars, and we've got people that even come to every single investigation that we do. Love
so how many times a month do you run the tour there?
When it's not COVID.
Yeah, pre-COVID, we were doing one sort of 2-hour investigation a month, and then one 3-hour investigation every 2 to 3 months, and then we're kind of just throwing in some special events and things where we could. And we kind of it's hard because my brother works shift work, so he has to work every second weekend as well. So we kind of work around that schedule too. But we also didn't want it to be one of those things where it's just, we wanted it to be very special. We didn't want it to be where there's like an investigation happening every night, that it's sort of like not special anymore, that people kind of think, oh, I can just go anytime. We wanted to make it's something really special. But we're only, because of council regulations, we can only have 15 people in the house at once, including us. So our tour groups aren't huge, but they're enough. And one of the things people, I think, love about the tours is that it is a small group, and especially if we split up and say you've only got sort of 2 or 3 people in your group, so you're having a really intimate investigation experience. And I love that too, because I feel like I'm investigating with my friends, and I'll just be in a room with 2 or 3 other people, and we just see if the house talks to us, and I just love it. It's amazing.
We used to do that at Q Station too when we were doing the paranormal investigator tour. It was split down into smaller groups, and the most we would have at one time in an area would be 8. And they became like your little team, and you knew everybody that was in there, and you really worked together. It was fantastic. I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, by the end of the night, everyone's friends. Like, people haven't met before, and they know each other by name. And by the end of the night, they're swapping Facebook, requests, and they all become friends. Like, we're like a little family now. It's really great.
Yeah, I've had many people from tours who have actually become good friends from Facebook. Actually, all our Frightfully Good army, really. We've got people that help us, like Christy's on there promoting stuff now, and we've got a little group that will send out all the links so people can see that we're going live, and we've met them all on tours, and they've become great friends.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, it's just
Hi,
amazing.
Joe from the Victorian Alps.
Oh,
I bet you it's cold there.
Oh, that shrinkage factor right there. So, was the house haunted before the ghost tour started, or was it that you looked into the hauntings of the house?
So the reason we found it was it was one of those places where you kind of look on those local forums, and there's like these ghost stories and things like that. And there was one that we came across that had been published in the paper at some point in the 2000s, because the Friends of Black Rock House were running ghost tours. And it was the story where there were 2 accounts, where one, there was apparently people had actually called police because they thought they'd seen 2 people fighting in the front sort of yard, and then it turned out that there was nobody there. And when you actually look back into the history books, there was a famous bare knuckle fist fight on the grounds. And so that was sort of the first. And then the second was that some people actually thought that they saw a lady jumping from the roof. And again, when you date back, there used to be a tower on the top of Black Rock House. And so whether it's that kind of energy, I don't know. But interestingly, when I hit the newspapers back in the 1920s, because it was one of those places that people didn't really know what it was just this old sort of looking house. There's an underground cellar. And one of the rumours was these girls came one day to speak to the caretaker, and they said, we want to go down into the haunted cellar. And the caretaker said, what are you talking about? And they said, well, there's a local, legend that there's a lady in white that's in the cellar, and her husband was very mean to her because she was disabled, and he locked her in the cellar, and she now haunts that cellar. That was the local legend that was actually published in the paper. So it's just sort of one of those things where there's just so much mystery about this location. We just had to get in there and see what it was all about.
Jose is being very naughty and wants to know, was it a Karen?
I believe her name was Mary.
Oh, there you go.
Her second name was Karen.
Mary Karen.
So that's really interesting that people have seen these images of things that have happened many, many years ago. Wow. That's
we haven't, unfortunately, but when we have been down in the cellar and we've done a lot of different experiments and things like that, this name Mary comes through quite often. And we can't. The problem with Black Rock House is there's a lot that you cannot back up historically. So we kind of, yeah, there's a lot that we can't back up, but we do have a lot of the local community that have had family members that lived there through the generations, because it is one of those local places, and sometimes they do come forward and they're able to kind of validate some information for us, but a lot of it is really, really difficult. So I can't tell you if there probably was a Mary that lived there from all the hundreds of people that lived there over the years, but there's no historical record that she was there.
So when you say you've had Mary come up quite often, how does that name come up?
So we've used a lot of different equipment. One of the experiments that we use a lot, which was introduced to us originally, we had a gentleman come down from the UK called Chris Morris, and he ran a special old school night, because in the UK he runs sort of Victorian era based tours. And so he took us through, it was amazing. So he took us through all the methods that they use over there in the UK. And so he showed us the human pendulum.
They use cat balls.
Cat balls, yeah. But they don't light up.
It's fluffy.
Yeah.
We've been traumatised by cat balls.
Give us a sign, Spirit. Give us a sign. Sorry.
Yeah. That's okay. He showed us the human pendulum experiment.
Yep.
We actually, that was the first time it came out, and we had so much success. We've done it quite a few times. It only seems to really work down in that cellar. So we do that a fair bit in the cellar. We use spirit boxes, EVP, sort of like a portal type device, all different things. And even people down there are picking up a name with an M. And I think there was actually another variation of Mary as well, but the name escapes me because there's just so many names that come through. But one of the other myths surrounding Black Rock House with the cellar is that they actually believe that there were underground tunnels that led from the cellar through to the beach. And there were a lot of rumours as to why there were cellars. A lot of properties along the bayside in that era, they actually had tunnels because of prohibition, and so they would actually import alcohol and things like that. They weren't importing alcohol, but it was also thought that because Charles Ebden was such a high-profile figure, that there was a rumour that maybe it was for him and his family to escape if they were ever under attack. The caretakers have said that no, it was just a normal cellar. It wasn't used for anything like that. The council actually had people come out to survey the area to see if they could find evidence of there being tunnels, because they would all be collapsed in right now. And they said that it was sort of inconclusive. They couldn't sort of rule definitively that there weren't, but they also couldn't really find definitively that they were. So that's sort of one of the big mysteries. But a lot of the locals, interestingly, tell us that they remember playing in the tunnels when they were kids. So
people say that all the time. If I had a dollar for every time someone said there's a tunnel under Newcastle that people have been in,
in Maitland Jail,
I'd be a rich person.
And we actually we had to investigate a house which has now been sold, and that were taking us out the back, and they've gone, and this is the tunnel to Maitland Jail, and we're looking at this depressed bit of land with bricks over it. We've gone, it's the freaking tunnel. People have been searching for this tunnel for years, and it's in the backyard, just down from the bloody jail. I almost bought the house. I literally almost bought the house.
But again, it's never, you can't get into it. It's never been tested whether there is a connection. It's a little bit too far away from the jail to really be, something that, unless someone was living at that house that was so incredibly important, there would be no reason for a tunnel to be there. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, there we are. Sarah, Jody wants to know if you're going to be doing a book on Black Rock House.
Probably eventually. I feel like there's still a lot more to be discovered yet, but I do write a series on my blog called Tales of Black Rock House, and I'll just write, I've got one where I went through the newspapers and found a lot of the different local legends, which included one night where a bushranger came to the house, and then sort of the caretaker, the lead stablesman, he was talking to the daughter, and the lead stablesman came out and sort of, showed the bushman that he had a gun and sent him on his way. just sort of stories like that, and even looking into this bare knuckle fist fight that happened. There was a famous detective called J.M. Christie, and then he was also a bare knuckle fist fighter, and he was one of the people that was in this bare knuckle fist fight. So I've written about all that kind of stuff, and then also just kind of taking people on a tour of the house and telling them all the spooky things that have happened to us on tours.
Okay, tell us all the spooky things that have happened.
Can I show you some photos?
Oh, yes,
Can I just
please.
say, before you turn that off, look at your bib and braces. Oh my God. Look at that.
Brooke would die. She would
Brooke would be tearing it off
rip
you
it
right now.
Oh!
Was it specially made for you?
No, it's just from Hell Bunny. They've done a Halloween range, and so you can get
I think she's got that on order.
Yeah, probably.
They have a shirt. I've got the shirt as well, and then they have a shirt dress, which I'm probably going to get to.
I like your style. All right.
I kind of like reading words, if you didn't tell.
Yeah, I'm eyeing off all the stuff in the background there. Don't worry.
All right, so I'm going to share some photos with you.
Now I'll just get my phone up so I can watch from here.
Okay, do you have to do something at your end to select my...
Maybe I do. Look at that.
Yeah.
There we are.
Look at that.
What a team.
How professional.
So that is the outside of the house. So as you can see, it just kind of looks a bit normal. And one of the things that we found is a lot of the locals didn't even know what this place was. They just thought it was sort of a public ground that you walked through. A lot of people didn't really know the significance of what this house was. That's the cellar. Ooh. So you go down that cellar. We've actually locked my brother in there before for about an hour.
I like that.
His phone went flat, so he couldn't ring us to tell him to unlock it. So he just had to wait until he decided, oh yeah, you had enough.
Everyone thought he was being really tough staying there for an hour, and he's going, "My phone's dead."
Yeah, let me out. So the tunnel supposedly came from under the stairs and out to the beach.
Right.
That's the rumor of the tunnels. So this is the back of the house. So
Look
you can
at
see
that
the
tree.
Oh wow!
So I have some information about that tree.
There's a body
but you can
buried under
also
that.
see to the left the castle gates. So you can see half house, half castle, and so that was the main entrance to the stables. Now that tree, there's something about that tree, and those trees are as old as the house. So they're over 100 years old, and they are heritage listed. And it's a Moreton Bay fig tree. And one of the cool things about the trees is there's actually like a tin roof. And so what happens during the tours is the figs fall on the roof and make a really, really loud bang noise and just scare everybody. And
Oh,
so
that's gold. Do you do the whole tap once for yes and twice for no?
No, it's so funny because my brother and I, we just don't even flinch anymore. We're just like, oh yeah, fig. It's just, but we've had a lot of psychic mediums that have been around that tree. They're just like, I just want to touch that tree. I need to touch that tree. And as you said that there's someone buried on the tree. A lot of people have told us that they feel that energy, that they feel that there is a person buried under that tree. We don't even have historical records that they have been, but a lot of people that come through, or particularly during summer, we investigate that tree when we can, when it's sort of a calm night. And that's one of the places our guests always want to go. They say, we want to go to the tree. But that's actually, for anyone that wants to, well, if you're within 5 kilometres of Black Rock House, because we're not allowed to leave 5 kilometres of our house anymore. But if you live in Black Rock, that's actually public gardens that walk through to the beach. So you can actually have a walk around and see the outside of the house and visit that beautiful tree anytime. Wow. So
Meg's saying next road trip. Yeah, we'd love to, but we've got to wait till they're allowed to let people in. Belinda, this is Black Rock House. Black Rock House, Belinda.
So what's my next photo? So that's just another close up of the. So the walls are obviously original. The gate is not the original gate. The gate more. There's some photos where it was more of a wooden gate, but they managed to replace it with a gate. But the stone is all correct, and you can actually see there's actually people that have etched their initials into the stone. So we don't know if they are people that built the walls or not. And that's the stables that it leads into. So there
I
are
was
a lot
going to
of
say that looks like
horses.
stables. Yeah.
And yeah, there's a beautiful horse and cart, and they're actually currently redoing the stables. They're building them up.
Oh,
Right.
COVID.
And sort of behind that area is what is the living quarters. It was once the stables, and then it was kind of made into a living quarters. So here you've got a kitchen, and at the back of that kitchen is a living quarters. Now, we don't get a huge amount of activity in this kitchen until we enter the room behind it, which is this room. Usually when we're in this room, we're being drawn out into the kitchen, and quite often we'll put a REM pod on the kitchen table, and when we start doing our thing in this room, the REM pod's on the kitchen table going off, which we love the REM pod because it doesn't go off, all that much. So when it does, we get really excited.
There's a bloke in there.
Renata's picking up on it. Watch out.
There's a bloke in there.
In the kitchen or in this room?
In this room.
Okay.
I'm
excuse
her. She's a little bit weird.
There's things I know, but I'm not going to say too much. I know all of the regulars from Black Rock House, like, oh my God. I know he's watching because they know.
All right. What else you got, Renata?
Let me think. I think he's got some sort of a scar, which is another thing, and it seems to always he does something here, something like this here. But keep going, keep talking.
Okay, so this is everybody's favourite room when we go on the tour, and this room is what we call Annie's room. And the reason we call it Annie's room is that we believe that there is a spirit called Annie there, and it was one of those cases where she couldn't understand. See, Nicole, Sarah, talk about Annie. They all love Annie. Whenever we go to tour and we say, look, you've got 10 minutes, where do you want to go? Everyone's like, we want to go see Annie. We want to go see Annie. So Annie is what we believe to be a spirit of who was a maid, essentially. And we believe, died in her sleep. She was kind of in her 50s or so, and she hadn't realised that she had passed away. And she was upset when people were coming in and ignoring her. And so we sort of did a lot of work to try and tell her story. And now even the volunteers, whenever they walk in, they say, hi, Annie, how are you today? And things like that. And so people she's such a beautiful energy. So what we love about Black Rock House is if you investigate things like asylums and prisons, a lot of people think that the paranormal is a negative experience and that everything is negative. This Black Rock House is different because it is positive. It is all very, very positive. And that's what people kind of get confused with. But in terms of the man, is a lot of people will report during the tour that they often see a man standing in the doorway following us around. And we often, this man, and there's actually another man with him that kind of draws us out, and he's known as a bit of a trickster. And he often plays a lot of tricks and things on us, and definitely tries to draw us out. And a lot of times when we're going, okay, we're going to go now, and then they'll do things to make us stay, but then it's just back and forward. But Annie's room is definitely one of the most popular locations, and again, it's because it's just this beautiful positive interaction that you are having. There's nothing negative about Annie at all.
Yeah.
And do you think because it's called Black Rock House that people assume black means it's a negative thing?
Well,
I don't know if it's necessarily.
The suburb's
called Black Rock.
Right, okay.
Which is named after the house.
Yeah, we just find that if anything has black associated with it, that they immediately go to the dark side, so to speak, and assume that it's all going to be negative.
I think one of the issues that we don't have it as much anymore, but one of the biggest issues we had is everyone came in and was expecting it to be like Ghost Adventures, and we were kind of almost I'd started going, what show do you watch, so we kind of knew what to expect. And
Yeah.
they would always be quite surprised by the end of the night, because again, when you're having positive interactions and things like that, it's very different. And
Yeah.
my brother and I we are very, very casual. We're not serious. We're always laughing and having fun, and we try to build the energy of the group up because we find it's just better for interaction. So it's a very positive and fun experience, not
Sounds
dark
like
and
us.
scary.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds very much like us.
So this is the main hallway to the house. So you can see the wallpaper is the kind of wallpaper that you would have in an 1850s house. A lot of the time, so many times we've heard footsteps going up and down the hallway when we're in the rooms. There has been, my brother twice has actually seen a figure, and the first time he saw it, he described it to me. And it actually, I showed him a picture and he says, yes, that's who I saw. Who is that? And it was a picture of Charles Ebden. And I always honestly used to say, I don't know why Charles Ebden would be here, because it was just his holiday home for about 7 years or so. He didn't live there for 50 years or anything like that. And I always kind of was of the opinion, I didn't think that he would come back. But so many people haven't seen his picture and then will describe this figure to me that they see. And then I show them that picture and they'll say, that's who I saw. So I don't know if he's just checking on things, and because it was sort of a project of his for his family. I don't know, but it's been in that hallway that he has been sighted a few times. So the next one is, we're going down, this is the nursery.
I just want to go back to that picture before. Did anyone ever check whether there's some sort of a trapdoor under that hallway?
There isn't under that hallway, but there is in the house.
You're weird.
And you know where it is? It is in this room. That's where the trapdoor
is. Renata's available for private readings.
Or readings are probably like, get her to come to Black Rock.
Oh no! We want to.
And goes down to the cellar.
Right. Yeah, that was their escape hatch little thing in case they were
the bolt room.
Yes. So we had we've got one like that at Tomago House too, where they have a special little escape area in case they were raided, or someone came in to steal things, especially in the days when bushrangers were around. So they would hide the kids and hide down there, and absolutely.
And you kind of think, being politicians and that kind of, First Auditor General and things like that, he had a lot of money. One of his phrases was, I fear I have become ridiculously rich. He was just, and rich by standards those days is completely different to these days.
Can we take that phrase? I love it.
Yep.
I'm afraid I've become ridiculously rich.
So
it's not like on a t-shirt.
Look, we don't get a lot happening in this room, but a lot of people do feel, often they'll ask me, is there a child? And they often feel like there's either a child hanging off their leg or holding their hand. That's the main experience that happens in this room.
Yeah.
So the next one, this is the children's bedroom. And what I'm just going to flash forward to the next one, is you can see the wallpaper here. So when they were redoing the house, when they stripped back all the layers of paint and wallpaper, they found the original wallpaper, which was this, and it is pictures from the book Uncle Tom's Cabin. Oh. And so they actually paid a lot of money to have it reproduced. And so the whole room is that wallpaper, and then there's a copy of the book Uncle Tom's Cabin next to the bed.
Mm-hmm.
So again, we haven't had a huge amount of activity. We've done a few different kind of experiments and things in this room, and it's just one of those things. Sometimes things happen in this room, sometimes they don't. We have had a funny story. I'll tell you, my dad is quite skeptical of he's of the opinion, I don't believe any of this exists, but don't mess with it, kind of thing. And I took him to the house. I took him to the house one night, and he was taking photos because he loves we studied photography together. So he was taking photos, and he was in this room, and he came out and he was all kind of freaked out. He's like, there's something in here with me. And I put the REM pod down, and we went out, and then the REM pod just started going off, and I'm like, okay, let's turn off our phones and make sure that, nothing's interfering. And yeah, there was definitely some stuff going on, and it was enough to freak out my skeptical dad.
Yay! Well done.
I love when that happens.
Yep. I like to take a skeptic down the rabbit hole.
So this room is what is affectionately known as the death room. Now, we didn't call it the death room. It was called the death room long before we went there. So the volunteers actually named it the death room. And it is because when people walk in this room, they just feel like death. They feel like either someone has died. A lot of people think that a lady has died in the bed. Now, it's important as well to note that 99% of the furniture in this house is either donated or bought from antique stores. So it's not original to the house. There is one piece of furniture that is original to the house, which I'll show you. And what is weird is sometimes the bed emits EMF, which is quite bizarre, only sometimes, which is weird. And a lot of people just report they'll smell what smells like death. And often they walk in and they feel nauseous and they start rocking on. But you actually see people and they'll be standing there and they start rocking.
I call it the fun house effect. You feel like you're in that wobbly house where everything's off kilter.
Yeah, and again, we get a lot of REM pod stuff happening there. We get, if someone is lying on the bed, often we put like a K2 next to them, and the K2 starts going crazy when someone's lying on the bed. We do a lot of spirit box work where you run the spirit box with the headphones and things like that we do on the bed. And there are some people that actually can't even walk through the threshold of the door because they feel that they're being blocked. And a lot of the time, there's a cupboard next to there, and I actually open up the cupboard and people freak out and they're like, you have to close that cupboard. They just don't like the energy that's coming out of that cupboard. So if you want to keep the room, you just open the cupboard and they're gone.
Wow.
Everyone's very excited.
Yes,
lots of comments.
Yes, I love the comments coming through.
Oh,
really
good. I'm
fantastic.
so happy.
Yeah. Lots
So
of
excited
people
to show
giving
you
their
what
opinions on what's there.
How beautiful is this?
Yes.
So this is the drawing room. And then when I talk about the only original piece of furniture is you've got that chair that's there in front of the fireplace. And that was an original chair. We call it Mr. Ebden's chair. And that was a chair that belonged to the family. And then he gave it to one of the caretakers as a gift. And then it kind of ended up back at the house. It's obviously been reupholstered. But that is the one piece of original equipment. And we've had people sit in that chair. Some people felt that they've been touched on the head. We had one girl, she actually felt like she was being choked. We don't normally have a lot of negative stuff happen, but she felt like she was being choked. Often we'll put the REM pod on there and the REM pod starts going off. There's a lot of energy associated with that particular chair. And some people even think as well with the painting that is above the fireplace. Jury's out on that, but whether or not it's just a creepy painting that freaks people out or there's more to it, not really sure.
Yeah.
Lisa wants to know, did you grow up in the house? But I was, no.
I wish. I
Look
wish.
at that hallway.
That's the way. Actually, with the drawing room, I forgot to mention, where did we go? What?
Sneak previews.
With the drawing room, that is also modelled on original wallpaper. When we first investigated the house, this room didn't really exist in its current form. It was the walls were being stripped, and there wasn't really any furniture in there. So we were investigating around boxes. But the wallpaper, they paid a lot of money again to reproduce that wallpaper to the original wallpaper that was there in the house. Again, just trying to make it really authentic. Another little fun fact is that clock sometimes dings. So people get a bit freaked out when the clock makes its little noise. I'm so used to the house.
Do you know how the gentleman who built the house for himself as the holiday house, how he died?
Yes, I do.
Oh, hang on. Do we want people to suss out? We're going to get people to suss out what might have happened before we get the information.
Yeah, okay, guys. How do you think, what was his name?
Mr. Charles Ebden. No Googling.
No Googling. How did he die?
What are you sensing?
And regular
Try
people.
and tap in. Yeah, if you know, don't pretend you're being a fantastic psychic medium by telling us.
I'll know by the name.
Yes, it is just a house. It's a historical house that you can go and visit. So do they run tours during the day as well?
They do. So every the first Sunday of every month, they run tours that are free.
Pre-COVID.
Yeah.
pre-COVID, and they dress up in costume and take you through and give you an historical tour of the house. In winter, they normally run ghost tours, and you can also have Devonshire tea. We were supposed to be having a massive Halloween event that is probably not going to happen.
Yeah,
which
let's not
sucks.
talk about that. We'll get all
No.
sad.
All right. Belinda is saying heart attack. Christy is saying hung himself. Danielle is saying Charles choked. Justin saying some sort of medical condition. Sam said heart condition. Cherie is heart attack. Jess is stroke. I've got heart attack. Heart attack.
I think you got kicked in the nuts by a horse.
Yeah, I was going to say some sort of accident. Heart attack.
Was it accident? Stomach. Didn't get kicked by a horse or anything like that. But.
Wow.
Old age, choked, heart
There's
attack.
the stomach.
I know,
What's
but they're all still going.
Like, is it peritonitis or something like that? I can get
peritonitis.
That's
Is it peritonitis?
something like that.
Something burst.
Something
within there.
Yeah, something burst.
Yeah.
Poisoning.
But yes, so that's how Mr. Ebden died. But again, we also, people may be picking up things of some of the other people that are in the house, not just Charles. And again, one of the mysteries or things that we have a lot of problems with is that, again, a lot of the items are donated. So you've got a lot of residual energy and things on other items that don't belong to the house. And it's also right near the beach and a main road or water. And sometimes we'll be communicating, and a lot of people that we are not familiar with end up kind of crashing in, and we've even had people bring things with them before, so we never know who or what we're going to be dealing with on a tour.
Sandra was very smart. She said he stopped breathing.
That's
how he died.
Normally that does it.
Someone set out fishing and something happened.
He liked hunting. He liked hunting. But yeah, and he has a big monumental grave at the Melbourne, I think it's Melbourne Cemetery or either Faulkner, one of the two. So this is the second hallway, and again, usually when we are in the bedrooms, there's stuff going on in this hallway. It's like we're getting dragged out, and often we'll put the REM pod down just in front of that door and communicate with what seems to be something intelligent.
There's nothing like putting REM pods down a hallway. I love putting REM pods down a hallway. It's just
in a
something
line, having to run up and down. And yeah, it's just amazing. We get some great stuffs in that hallway. So this room is where we usually finish our night, and it is the beautiful grand dining room. And you can see there's beautiful velvet tablecloth that was actually donated by the family of a man that just loved Black Rock House, one of the locals, and I believe the tablecloth's over 100 years old itself. So it's just beautiful, and it's got the same cutlery that my nan had with the yellow sort of handles and stuff like that. So I always think of my nan when I go there.
Bone handles,
Yes, which is great.
You've got a portal there, portal to another world.
So I thought I'd zoom in on the mirror. That's a picture of Mr. Ebden's parents on each side as well. And that mirror, there's something with that mirror. Some people say they feel that it shimmers. Some people believe that it is a portal. We had, before we were there many years ago, back, I think it was like 2010 perhaps, maybe, they actually hired some psychics to come in and do a reading on the house to help them write the ghost tours that they run. And we were told by one of the volunteers, whether or not it's true or not, apparently they used it as a portal and didn't close it or something along those lines. But what we cannot deny is there is something about that mirror. We do believe there's stuff coming in and out. Sometimes people won't even put their backs to the mirror. We get a lot in that room. We've had people scry in that mirror, and some have like almost run out screaming. I know there's been one occasion where, and this never happens to me, there was one occasion I was standing with my back to the mirror, and then all of a sudden I kind of turned to my side and I just started screaming and crying, and I had to leave the room. That's not like me.
Wow.
I couldn't do that. And I'm like, what the hell? And I couldn't even go back inside that night to lock up. And I'm there all the time. I walk around in the dark. I don't use a torch or anything like that. I'm so used to the place. But yeah, something about that mirror that particular night just flipped me out.
Wow.
It doesn't help that while we're looking at it, it's moving and changing shape.
Yes.
Anyone else noticing that?
Ron is saying it's pulsing.
Freaky as Ron, isn't
Yeah,
it?
wow. It goes in and out of focus. That's really bizarre.
But it's just an amazing mirror, and we'd love to be able to even just take it down. But
it's moving, Ray. It's definitely supernatural. I'd say it's just the bandwidth trying to keep up.
And that's a very quick, condensed tour of Black Rock House. But you can, if you are in Melbourne, when COVID is over, on the first Sunday of every month, you can go for Devonshire tea and a guided tour. It's got a completely different energy during the day than it does at night. And
absolutely.
People just fall in love with it. It's just a very inviting place. It's quirky. It's beautiful. And honestly, you wouldn't think it, but I feel like we get a lot of activity on a pretty regular basis. And I mean, it's come to the point that me and my brother are almost hard to impress sometimes, because we're like, oh yeah, REM pod going up again. Like we're so used to it.
Our normal is very different to someone else's normal. I keep saying that sometimes to the team that, we see K2s going off or things happening, and it's like, oh yeah, they're back again. That's great. And other people are going, oh my God. And it's just our baseline has lifted to what I call them the normals.
I had someone scream once when the K2 went off, and I'm standing there going, what? But to them, it was terrifying.
Yeah,
Yes.
just watch the magnet on your phone, love. It's all right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, so how is Black Rock House surviving now that we're in COVID?
Well, it's not open, and we bring in a lot of money for them every year. We've only been able to run one tour this year. We made the decision. We didn't go ahead with March. It was on the borderline of it happening, and we had a few people pull out because it was kind of like, do we go ahead? Do we not? And because I'm also quite medically vulnerable, I don't want to risk it. And a lot of the volunteers that work at the house are a lot older, and we have to think of their protection and things as well. And we just thought we didn't want to be responsible with causing a COVID outbreak.
Yes.
So we just said no. And then when everyone reopened up again in July, we held firm and thought, well, no, we won't, because we just kind of had this feeling that there was going to be this second wave. And again, it was just because it is such a small location, you're literally on top of each other, and so we didn't feel that people could properly socially distance. My brother and I did get to go in. For those that have been on tour, we have a special group called Black Rock House Aftershocks, and it's only for people that have been on tour to kind of just share things that they've captured or experiences that they've had without the trolls of Facebook cutting down their experiences.
There's trolls on Facebook?
Yeah. I know. So we did a special live stream for them. So me and my brother got to go in once in July. Was it July or June? June. It was June. Yeah. We got to go in. We were supposed to go back in about 3 weeks ago, but COVID had already dashed those plans. We were going to reopen in September. That's not going to happen now. We'll be lucky if we can reopen this year, honestly.
Yeah.
So just for the people watching, if you were able to watch a live investigation run by Sarah and her brother, would you pay $10 to do that if you knew all that money was going to the Black Rock House? Is that something that you would be interested? I'm not necessarily just for you, but I want to know if the community, the paranormal community, would be willing to pay a small fee to watch a live investigation somewhere, if that money was going to help keep these places surviving.
Absolutely.
That was actually sort of our plan, what we were going to do for July. We were just kind of going to, again, keep it within the small aftershocks group, because we knew there were people that love Black Rock House, and just say, look, even if you wanted to pay $2,
Yeah.
You know,
Well, there we go.
anything
We've got,
else.
yep, I'd pay $10. Yes, definitely, absolutely. Yes, possibly. Yes, definitely, for sure. Yes, there's no right or wrong answer to this, guys. It's just we're putting it out there to
Yeah.
see
And
how we can help.
I think it's really important for people who are also in other states and even in other countries who could not get there normally or wouldn't be able to get there normally, but would also love to have the experience and at least do something to help these sites exist and continue to exist. I know you know, Sarah, and I know that we know how important funding and money is to these places. They cannot exist if people don't donate to them. They just don't exist. They close their doors and that's the end of the story because they
Yeah.
do not get any money from government. Absolutely nothing. So a lot of these places literally exist on donations from their one open day a month and occasionally when they have something interesting happening and if there is a tour running. We have a place very similar in Newcastle here, which is Miss Porter's house, and we can't even fit 10 people in there. We go to 8. It's tiny. And we did tours there every 2 months, and they would open once a month for their open afternoon on a Sunday, and they've had nothing. You know, these National Trust homes just don't get anything at all.
And I sat in on their meeting as well because I had to be inducted to be a volunteer there. And they were telling me how much they do rely on the money that Renata brings in
Yeah,
for the upkeep and bill payment and
yeah.
everything. Now they've got nothing.
Yeah, I know that they would be, definitely suffering. And there was going to be, I know that they have got some grants that they were using, but they're working there's a little staff room that's going to be made into a library that we were going to do a big unveiling for, and we will do a big unveiling for once we can eventually get back in there. And it's going to have a lot of historical photos and be decorated like an old-time sort of library. And it's actually one of those rooms because the door, I don't know if it's just because people feel things come, like energy coming out of the door, or just because the door's closed. They always want to go in there. So it'll be a really good reveal when we can have it happening.
Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll get an opportunity to do something over the next month or two, just even yourself and your brother, to go in and organise a tour. And even, like you said, even if you charge $5 or something, and anything, I think in most cases helps to pay, you know, the electricity, the laundry, not the
Laundry. Gotta pay for washing up those tea towels.
the electricity, the water, the security that needs to be paid because all those houses have security.
And I know at the moment they're actually looking, they want to get a CCTV system because the place is being vandalised and it's just heartbreaking. I had one of our regulars messaged me a couple of weeks ago, and she lives around the corner, and she messaged me with some photos. She goes, "Oh, I'm so sorry to tell you, I don't know if they know, but someone smashed, throwing rocks through the windows, and she kind of cleaned up the glass, and I rang the committee and they didn't know, and they got the council out there straight away to go fix the window. But it's something that's happening more and more. People are drawing on their graffiti, they're scratching graffiti into the trees. It's horrible.
Let me tell you, they're all very keen. They're saying, ladies, put the link up when it happens. And want Sarah's full name, address, and ABN. So
you can head to, we do have a page which is just called Black Rock House Paranormal Tours. So if we do anything, it will be mentioned on that. And that's also where we announce all future investigations and events and all things like that as well.
Excellent. Fantastic.
And also, don't forget that Sarah also has a fantastic
blog. Where are your books, Sarah?
And books.
Where
oh my
God,
books? Your
Where
books are like Bibles.
What have we got?
I've got those exact same cubes, you know.
They're from Target.
Yeah, mine came from Kmart.
So plug time.
Oh yes, definitely.
Plug time. This is my book, Stuff Paranormal Investigators Need to Know. So this one talks about all the different rational things that can make people think they're experiencing something paranormal. And it's not me saying that you're not experiencing something paranormal, but it is just a way to look at the rational side And so you can eliminate all the really little things. It covers things like pareidolia, things that happen with the way your body reacts to EMF, to white noise, things that can happen while you're sleeping, all that kind of stuff.
Isn't pareidolia the stuff they have on the back of those old chairs?
Your doily.
Yeah, the pareidoilias. Sorry, it's been a long day.
We've been interviewing since this morning sometime. We're
I'm going to say that now. It's just
Look at the pareidoilias. Auntie Mabel made that one back in 1962.
You've seen the matching coat hanger. It's really nice. Goes with the toilet dolly.
the cheese daisy.
Yeah,
Sorry,
anyway.
plug, focus.
Let's keep going.
Supernatural synchronicity. So this is a blog, a series that I wrote that we turned into a book with Ashley Nib, and a lot of people have asked about it. We kind of like talk about philosophy and things like that, and so he kind of just starts with the question, where do you think like psychic, all activity and things like that comes from? And then we start talking like, is it, does it come within the pineal gland? Can we unlock our pineal gland to have those experiences? Is time different here to what it would be somewhere else? Just sort of things like that, looking at what the soul means, what religion means to people, just tying all these different things into what different people believe the paranormal is. And it's just much more, it looks into more of the philosophy side. So you start looking at Descartes and the theory of dualism and things like that, that the mind is separate to the body and things like that, and how that could tie into the paranormal and things like that. So it's just, if you want to have a bit of a mind F, this is a good book, because it'll just make you go, what? And just kind of look at things a bit differently to what you may think. It just kind of, I guess,
see on TV.
yeah, and also we're beyond the thing that A, paranormal is not just ghosts, and B, it may not just be someone that has passed away. There are other possibilities as well, or it could be all of them. We don't know.
Yep.
So that's kind
We
of
don't know until we get there.
Yep.
Yeah, we're just going to go, well, what if it's this? What if it's this? And kind of just
yeah.
back up our points. It's like a discussion.
Yeah.
And then I've got a new one that's out now. I've got some copies coming for those in Australia, and it's called the LLIFS Guide to Electronic Voice Phenomena. So it's all about EVP, the history of it, where the name came from. Does anyone even know who came up with the name EVP? Because it wasn't anyone that I knew when I researched it. So it's just, it goes back to when the first EVP was supposedly recorded in 1901. So it's got like a full history of EVP, different experiments you can do, different things that can interfere with your EVP. There's like a couple of pages of lists of the different frequencies that interfere with EVP. And there's some worksheets and stuff at the back that you can use as well. So you kind of make it your own guide that you can take with you when you go out investigating. So that's available now on Amazon, and I'm getting in copies to sell to those of us here in Australia.
Nice.
And then there's Haunted Magazine.
You'll let us know when they land, won't you?
I will, for sure. Haunted
Excellent.
Magazine. This is very popular. The next issue is coming out. It's being printed today in the UK, and then it's being sent straight to me. They quote, because we pay for priority shipping, and it's supposed to only take 3 days to get to me. Last time it took a week and a half. So I'm hoping I should have them. I'm hoping I should have them next week, but it's kind of out of my control. But if you head over to my Facebook page, Living Life in Full Spectrum, there's a link there, the pinned post at the top. You can place a pre-order. I've sold already 1/3 of the shipment. So there's still quite a few left, but it's once it comes in and people find out about it, 'cause still a lot of people don't know about it, it starts to go. It's got Kieran O'Keefe on the front, and he's going to be talking about paranormal ethics. Because he's just written a paper about that. John Fraser's written an article in there about poltergeists with his book that's just come out about poltergeists.
Yeah, I'm reading that at the moment.
It's really great, and I'm also going to bring in some back issues as well. There's back issues that have like the Ghost Brothers on the front, the Texas Chasers, Nick Groff. There's one that's a special dedicated to Jack the Ripper. There's all different back issues that I'm going to bring in, but some of them I may only be able to get 1 or 2 copies. So it'll kind of be one of those things that once they're gone, they're gone. But yeah, I'm going to be stocking this every time. There's between 4 to 6 issues a year, and that's $18.99, and that includes shipping. So it's pretty good,
That's a
because
very
if you
good
buy
price.
Very
if
good
you buy it
price. Yeah.
direct from them, I used to buy it myself, and it used to cost me over $30, and it would take
Wow.
2 months to get here. So
Yeah.
it's definitely heaps cheaper, heaps faster to buy through me, and it's really informative, and it's mainly US and UK content, but we're very slowly trying to get more Australian content
I
into
know,
it. So
because there she is.
there I am.
Yay! Aussie, Aussie, Aussie!
And
And
I'm going to
Kel-
try. I mean, I have been writing about Black Rock House, but I am trying to also do some articles about some other Melbourne locations and eventually some Australian locations as well. So it's not just going to be Black Rock House, but I had to represent.
Absolutely, absolutely. Kel was asking how to get a copy. Kel, just go to the Living Life in Full Spectrum web page, and you will find all the information there.
And we actually need everybody's help too. And Sarah, you might be able to help us as well by plugging this on your websites. We've got a live feed coming up from Q Station Manly, and we need to have big numbers on this. Even if you can't go, or you're not sure if you're able to go, if you just click on interested or going, that helps us with our numbers. So
We need to impress.
we need to impress. We had over 5,000 people that were coming to the one that was postponed last week, and then they accidentally, because somebody had it that didn't know what they were doing, and they cancelled the event instead of changing the date on the event, so we lost all the numbers that we had. So we just need people. It's on the
13th. Thursday the 13th.
Thursday the 13th
At 9
of August.
p.m. Yes.
Yeah, so it's on the Quarantine Station Ghost Tours page. Just click on there and click that you will be going, or that you are interested in that live event. And then you can watch us. We're doing something that has never been done at Quarantine Station before and has actually been banned.
That's Anne walking around naked down in the shower block.
Yep.
No towel?
That should get everyone
I
watching.
know, right? I'm going to put my G-banger on and off I go. Maybe some titty tassels.
Oh, oh, yes, yes, like that's a yes, people. Come on. I'd pay money to see that. Anyway, Sarah, thank you so much for
we've gone to
coming
the
on
pit.
this evening. Thank you for telling us all
Thank
about
you for
Black
having
Rock
me.
House.
And thank you for giving me the opportunity to show Black Rock House to everybody. And I know the
Oh.
committee were thrilled with the fact that everyone in Australia was going to have their eyes on Black Rock House. They were just
Absolutely.
delighted.
And you
So,
know that this
thank
is
you.
now going to be on the Facebook pages and on YouTube. So
Share,
you
everyone,
can
share.
You can share and share it around to everyone so that they can see how wonderful this house is and what a great job you guys are doing. And lift the the.
I don't know, you're telling the story.
Yeah, I know. Just let everyone know that it's there, and when this horrible COVID goes away, that is one of the places that they can go and visit. And we would love to do a tour there.
The
with
parastalkers
you guys.
will be coming.
We'd love to have you for sure.
With Anne's tassels on her nips.
That gentleman you picked up in the doorway, I think will really love it.
Hello.
Hello. Oh, thank you, Sarah. It's been an absolute joy.
Thank you.
Hang in there. We'll say goodbye to everyone.
And you hang there, Sarah. I'm going to pop you out. And we would just like to say thank you to everyone else. I hope you've enjoyed the show tonight. We've gone over an hour. Oh, my God. COVID. Stay safe. Wear a mask. Ignore the conspiracy theorist people. They're idiots. And there was one particular idiot that I was going to read out today, but he's removed his post where it was just so stupid what they were saying. Anyway, Thursday night.
Yeah.
Tarot.
Thursday night tarot. We will be on. We will be back. For those guys that have committed to the mediumship class, we will see you tomorrow night at 7:30.
And there's still time to buy tickets if you want to buy tickets. So just head to the page. The post will be there of how you can do that. But right now we need to say good night. Mwah!
Thank you. See you on the dark side.